Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Before anything else, humingi po ako ng patawad dahil I have no place. Kumbaga yung background ko ay hindi ganong kaayusan para sa session na ito. At the same time, yung camera ko kung magkakaroon man ng lag o magkakaroon man ng inconvenience, pasensya na po. But I would like to express my gratitude to Mr. Arnold MERCADO, ang ating SSG President, sa pagbibigay ng opportunity sa akin para makapag-share, para makapag-talk, makapagbigay inspiration sa ating future leaders. Well, I am assuming that the respondents of this video would be leaders, not maybe now, but in the near future. So I am Miles De Leon. Once again, I'm going to discuss the top qualities of a great leader. So, kung titignan nyo itong video na ginawa ko, itong presentation na ginawa ko, hindi ito ganun ka-wordy. Hindi rin ito yung, kung titingnan natin, maraming mga salita. So, I just limit everything into the basics. Konti lang to, ilang slides lang. But I'm gonna assure you that I'm gonna give my 100% kapag magpapaliwanag na. So, before we finally start, I would like to give this quotation. Of course, it's from Anonymous. Renew the vision of humanity, greatness, and mediocrity. Strive hard, be at your best, be the best leader you can be. So remember, once you're in a field of being a leader, it's very hard for you to do things. Kasi kapag leader tayo, they are expecting us to do something. They're expecting us to produce, to be productive. They're expecting us to create change. And that's why we leaders should not strive for change just for the sake of change. We have to renew the vision of everything. Kung mayroong kultura sa atin na hindi ganun kagandahan that has to be changed, we have to be the catalyst for the change. Leaders, welcome to this session once again. So here goes the following qualities of a great leader. First one, of course, is values authenticity. Well, if you're going to analyze the entire content, the entire discussion, you have to take note that these are just concepts. Ano? Konsepto lang lahat ng to. And once you're already on the field, it would be the real challenge because that's the implementation stage. So first one is values authenticity. So why? Pag sinabi natin authentic, di ba, totoo? And as leaders, we have to show that what we speak is also what we do. We have to walk the talk, right? This is something that's the most challenging of all. Why? Because there will be some time that during the implementation process, there you might experience some hardships, hindrance. However, as leader, you have to be authentic. You have to be an example. Next, break divisions. I remember one of the vice presidential candidate way back in 2016 vice presidential election. And his statement goes like this: we need better leaders in our future, leaders that seek to unite, not to divide. So I can associate that term, of course, to the leaders that has to break divisions. Diba? So wag na tayo lumayo ng iba example. Dito na lang sa senior high school, may kumuha ng mga academic track, meron din kumuha ng textbook. And madalas, some of the students are quite discriminated because sinasabi nila, textbook lang yan, ito yung nagawa namin. The same goes naman on the vice versa aspect. Kayo, alam niyo yung konsepto, pero kami, hands-on kami. So, sino ba dapat? As leaders, you have to break that division. By how? By bridging the two. You have to create bridge. Why? Because that's the only time that you as a leader should act. Kailangan, pag nakikita mong meron na factor na nagdi-divide sa dalawang grupo, you have to step on the middle. Gumawa ka ng paraan. You have to talk, you have to consolidate, you have to collaborate, you have to listen to all their glitches, to all their faults, you have to listen to all their complaints, and then as leader, you have to create solutions out of the problem. You have to break divisions. Next, willing to coach the team. Ito yung pinakamahirap sa lahat, no? Kasi may mga leaders tayo na leaders pero gusto nila sila lang. Right? Hindi maiwasan sa field. Minsan nga, I've experienced this way here during my college days na hindi ako nagagawa niyan. Kumbaga hindi naman niya dapat tokayan or dapat tinutulungan niya, tinitrain niya yung iba na to be productive or to do something, hindi niya ginagawa. Why? Kasi gusto niya siya lang. But as a leader, you have to have that willingness to coach the team. Bakit? Kasi remember that even if you have a very good reign, 2015, 2016, maganda ang reign mo, maganda ang leadership status mo, but you have to think of something that can sustain the progress. Maganda yung taon mo 2015, 2016, pero paano yung 27, 2018? Kailangan merong progress pa rin. That's why you have to coach the team. You have to have the willingness. It's not about you. It's not about them. It's about all of us here. And as leader, you have to think of we and not I alone. Next concept is you have to distribute the tasks and responsibilities. So if you're going to see here, if you're going to notice, napakasimple nito. Oh, distribute mo anong trabaho ng PIO. O ito po yung taga-hatid ng balita. Ano po ang trabaho ng Vice President? Ito po ina-assist niya yung President. Anong ginagawa ng Secretary? Ganito po, kesyo ganyan, kesyo ganito. However, ano ang significance ng distribution of task and responsibilities? Kapag leader po tayo, napakahirap kapag tayo ay sumusunod sa isang unstructured system. Kumbaga, hindi mo alam kung hanggang saan yung boundary mo. To the point na nasasagasaan mo ng ibang leaders. There are instances, presidente siya, pero at the same time, secretary rin, at the same time, PIO rin. Kumbaga, there's nothing wrong if you try to be flexible and versatile. However, you have to think also of the task and responsibilities. Kasi, once na sinakop mo na yan, maaapektuhan yung trabaho ng iba. 'Di ba? And once na nagkaroon na ng domino effect, hindi na magiging effective ang leadership. Remember, we, not I. Kapag nakikita ng tao na, bakit ganun? Bakit parang siya na lang ang gumagawa? Bakit ganun? Nandiyan naman yung members niya. Bakit hindi niya gawa ng paraan? Magkakaroon na ng problema yan. That's why it's very vital that as a leader, you have to distribute tasks and responsibilities. And not just for the sake of distribution, you have to distribute those things for clarity, for betterment, for better execution. Next, emotionally intelligent and accepts and gives feedback. So, kung mapapansin nyo, pinagsabay ko silang dalawa. Although these two things are different, but these two things are interrelated. They can be associated into one another. You have to be emotionally intelligent. Why? Kasi just like what I've said, during the implementation process, may mga glitches dyan. May mga problema na hindi mo alam, ay, pwede palang mangyari to. Ay, bakit ganito? Binigay naman namin yung best namin. Bakit nung gumawa kami ng proposal, okay na sa department namin? Tapos biglang nung inakyat namin para sa pirmahan na lang, bakit nagka-problema? You have to be emotionally intelligent. Remember that in leadership field, it's not only the concept, it's the implementation. And you have to accept the result. You have to be emotionally competent as well. And not just, intellectually gifted. And you have to accept and give feedback. As leader, kailangan minsan yun ang pinakamasakit sa part sa pagiging leader kapag nakakagawa tayo ng bagay na nakagawa na natin pero mali pala. Alam niyo yun, yung kumbaga, may nagawa ba akong mali? Mapapaisip ko, may nagawa ba akong mali? Parang wala naman. Pero as leaders, you have to accept feedback. Minsan, kaya lang naman hindi nagkakaroon ng maayos na camaraderie sa isang organization, sa isang leadership, ay dahil hindi tayo nagkakaroon ng tinatawag natin constructive criticism. Right? Lahat ng dating, lahat ng argumento na binabato laban sa atin, tingin natin negative. Lahat ng sinasabi niya, Miles, baka po pwedeng konting evaluate naman ito na o kaya Miles, baka pwedeng baguhin natin. Pero ang ginawa mo, lagi na lang may mali. Allah, sad. Bakit ganun? Hindi po pwedeng ganun. Dapat, you have to accept feedback. And you have to give feedback also as well. So, in the teaching field, napakahalaga po ng feedback. Hindi po alam ng mga, sa isang tao na hindi engaged sa teaching field, hindi nila alam ang value ng feedback basta-basta. Halimbawa, kapag ikaw, you're so down during the discussion, and then you answered, kumbaga nagtanong si teacher, ano masasabi mo sa buwis? Biglang tinawag, ikaw, Roberto, ang pagbabayad po ng buwis ay sapilitan. Very good. The term itself, very good. You give feedback from the answer, creates a spark. Kumbaga, alam niyo yan, students, napagdaanan ko rin yan. Pag tayo pinuri tayo, nabigyan tayo ng isang feedback, Natutuwa tayo. Sabi na, wow, ayos pala ang ginawa ko. But mind you this, not all feedback has to be like that. Merong feedback na kailangan sabihin natin yung mali. As leaders, kailangan maging transparent tayo. We have to be authentic. Kapag may mali, may mali. Huwag yung mali tapos hindi natin bibigyan ng pansin. Mali tapos kinukondono lang. May problema na tayo dyan. You'd rather tell the truth, the hurtful truth, than to make someone sway and dance with a lie. Tandaan niyo po yan. Next, deals with change. I know you're all familiar with the theory of evolution according to Charles Darwin, and this was also utilized by Herbert Spencer. Both of the two persons argued that you have to adjust to the surrounding in order to survive. And as leaders, kailangan may makasurvive. You have to be adaptable to change. May mga pagkakataon na gumawa ka ng plan A. Kumbaga, meron kayong project. And then, para may execute yung project na yun is proposal, of course. Gumawa ka ng proposal A na reject. Anong gagawin mo? Susuko ka na? No. You have to deal with change. Project proposal letter B. And then wag na tayo lumayo sa example na dito sa online setup natin. I know it's hard, napakahirap po ng online. Yung kumbaga, buong magdamag mo nakaharap ka sa computer mo, you have to submit things, pero meron pa ring online platform na kailangan mong i-attend. Sa amin sa college ganun din. Mahirap, pero as leaders, kailangan gumawa tayo ng paraan. And ang ginagawa nga ngayon, nakikita ko sa ibang site, natutuwa ko kasi ang ginagawa nila, hindi na nilalagay sa discussion na online session regarding the academic challenges. Hindi. Online kamustahan ang ginagawa. 'Di ba? Iba yung dating kapag sa online kamustahan, ay, parang ang ganda nito ah. Kumbaga, sige nga, pasok ako. Nabibigyan ng motivation ngayon. It's either the estudyante, the respondents, the magulang, or whoever would that be. Nagkakaroon sila ng positive mindset. Dahil maayos eh. Kumbaga, maganda yung term na ginagamit. But, mind you, what we are trying to point here is we have to deal with change. It is only those who adjust who survive. Next. Next slide is just a continuation of the qualities. Helps like a hero. Hindi ko ibig sabihin diyan na ako si Superman. No, hindi mo kailangan maging si Superman. Hindi mo kailangan maging si The Flash, maging si Wonder Woman. No. Kumbaga, what's the matter that distinguished a simple living into a hero? It's not their superpowers. It's their willingness. It's their kindness. Yung tinatawag natin na genuine personality. Kapag tumulong tayo, hindi tayo naghihintay ng kapalit. Kapag nagsilbi tayo, we don't expect anything in return. Kumbaga, pag nagbigay ka as a leader, makatanggap ka man ng kritisismo, makatanggap ka man ng magandang sinabi ng iba o wala, okay lang. And that is the matter that I'm discussing right now. Helps like a hero. Hindi mo kailangan may super skills ka. Gawin mo lang yung trabaho mo. Gawin mo nang hindi labag sa loob mo. Gawin mo na ginagawa mo to kasi you want to create you want to change the world. You want to make the world into a better living. You want to resort to that direction. Hindi mo kailangan special power. Ang kailangan mo lang yung mindset mo. Kung ano yung mali, baguhin. Kung ano yung dapat i-improve, i-improve. Kung ano yung gusto mong i-implement, i-implement mo. And that is the distinction of a leader. Maraming may magagandang plano. Maraming may magagandang adhikain. Pero, pag nasa field, challenging. Ang hero, kahit mahirap, lumalaban. So, be heroes right now, leaders. Huwag kayo masisiraan na loob. If there are things na nahihirapan kayo sa ganito, nahihirapan kayo sa ganyan, you have to experience those. Kasi darating ang time, may makaka-experience niyan. And pag magtatanong sila, sir, nahihirapan po kasi kami sa ganito. Ano po bang may bibigay niyo advice? You can give something, you can provide. Remember that all the experience you are experiencing right now are inputs to yourself. And there will be a time you have to narrate those things as a source of inspiration to others. Hindi ko sinasabi to para, naku, pagdadaanan ko to para pag dumating yung time na hihingi nila to, makakapagyabang ako. Hindi. You have to live to create difference. You have to help like a hero. Next, you have to influence in a good way. Ito naman yung pinakamaganda sa lahat. Sabi nga sa battle cry ng Antipolo City Senior High School Supreme Student Government, true leaders don't create more followers. We create more leaders. So ganito rin dito. Kailangan you have to influence someone for the betterment. You have to influence someone in a good way. Although, pag sinabi natin good kasi, we might have contentions, right? Because what is good to mine might not be good to yours. And there are also instances na sasabihin nila na bakit ganyan yung ginawa nila. But the matter or the moment one of your students or one of the community, yung tao doon, bigla kang lapitan, Sir, salamat po sa plano nyo. Salamat po sa ginawa nyo. Dahil po doon nagbago ako. Dahil po doon nagkaroon ng direksyon yung buhay ko. Dahil po doon naging maayos ang pamumuhay namin. That is the price. And that's what I'm referring right now. Yung good way. Yun bang kahit anong nangyari, kung kahit anong hirap na yan, influence lang sila para maging mabuti. By the way, hindi mo naman dapat isipin na burden yan. Because sabi nga, when you love what you do, you don't feel like working at all. Leaders, once again, we have to influence them in a good way. Kaya po dapat, as leaders, kailangan maging mindful tayo sa mga kilos natin. Kasi leaders tayo eh. Ini-emulate tayo eh. Nandun yung contention na kailangan, you have to love me for what I am, for simply being me. Sabi nga ng isang kanta. Pero kung alam nyo po na magiging detrimental na yan na community, you know that it will cause anarchy, you know that it will slander the reputation of the organization you're affiliated with, you have to think, you have to ponder. Because at the end of the day, the good way of influencing will create positive change. Next, performs the job excellently. So, may mga ano dito, may mga argumento rin akong naisip dito. Kasi kapag sinabi mong performs job excellently, hindi lang dapat binigay mo yung good. Sabi nga ng isang teacher diyan sa Antipolo City Senior High School, good, better, best, never let it rest until your good becomes your better and your better becomes your best. Ganon din sa leadership. If you sabi nga rin ng I know some of you will literally agree with me, Mr. Pimentel, sinabi rin niya na if better is possible, good is not enough, right? So as leaders, if you think that you can somehow level up the performance, if you can give better production of this job, of the things that you're doing, don't settle for good. Settle for the best. Kasi there might be instances, sasabihin mo, sana pala ginawa ko na to dati. Sana pala ginalingan ko na dito. Because you never know when will the time that the opportunity will knock. Hindi mo alam kung meron pa bang ganitong oportunidad bukas. We do not know if the door will be closed. That's why at every day possible, at every moment, you have to perform the job excellently. You have to be at the best version of yourself. Next, knows thyself. Napaka-basic. It's more philosophical, no? Because as leaders, sabi as Socrates once argued, the unexamined life is not worth living. It's very hard for you to do a task. It's very hard for you to travel a journey if you do not know yourself. Why? What's the significance of knowing yourself? What's the significance of recognizing yourself? Because you, during the reflection, during the process of leadership, you might say, bakit ganun nahihirapan ako? Bakit ganun ang bilis kong masaktan? Bakit ganun ang bilis kong mapagod? What's with me? Kung alam mo yun, sasabihin mo na, I know that during this course, during the implementation, I might experience hardship. But as a leader, I have to strengthen my heart, to strengthen my faith. Right? Risk, challenges, pain are inevitable. However, that's why we have the course of management. When you know yourself, you can manage and reduce, elevate, and lessen the risk. Sa leadership, napaka-importante niyan. Not only it will not delimit the risk, but also when you know yourself, you can be at the best version of yourself. Kapag kilala mo ang sarili mo, alam mo na kapag ginawa mo tong bagay na to, hindi mo to pinagsisisihan kasi buo loob mo. Kasi yun ka. Yun ang personality mo. Kilala mo ang sarili mo. However, I would like to raise a point. If you know that there are things that has to be improved in yourself, you have to improve it. Faults, okay yan. We are human being. However, human being, by arguing na ako'y tao lang at natutokso rin na nagkakamali, will not always be acceptable at all. On a selected basis, it can be. However, strive for the betterment of yourself. Strive for the betterment of your service. And the first way um, towards the steps of attaining that is to know yourself. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, know thyself. All right. Next, manifest. Now, time will come, sasabihin ng mga tao sa'yo, bakit ba kailangan natin sundin yan tao na yan? Bakit ba? Hindi ko naman binoto yan. Yung nakakainis minsan eh, right? Pag leader ka, kumbaga, hindi ka naman inaano pero may masasabi sila sa'yo. However, as leaders, those are part of the challenges, of course. And that is part of criticism. You have to think of ways on how are you going to make the people around you believe on your philosophy. Kasi as leaders, remember, kapag may ginawa kang mabuti, may sasabihin sila. Kapag may ginawa kang masama, ang daming argumento ng iba. Do your job. Just do your job. Anyway, utilitarian concept states that if there are majority of the people who are happy, majority of the people are satisfied with what you're doing, then don't mind the minority. Ganun naman lagi yan. However, as leaders, as much as possible, you have to show them why they have to follow. Bakit kailangan po natin pumasok na maaga para po lahat ng kumbaga wala tayong mamis. Gagawa ka ng paraan, bakit mo papatunayan mo bakit kailangan sundin ang bagay na yun. It's the rationale of the things that we do. Kailangan at some point, i-level natin yung sarili natin sa mga estudyanteng iba, sa mga pinapamunuan natin because that's the leader after all. Kailangan you have to be on their ground just for them to understand what you're trying to implement. You have to talk on their terms. You have to get along with their discussion in order for you to relay the message because there's a gap between a leader and the follower. This is the gap. Remember this. This is the gap. And in order for you to bridge this gap is of course for you to make a bridge. Once you make a bridge, see to it that you can deliver, you can say everything. Kumbaga maiintindihan ng tao, kaya pala ganito ang programa nila. Kaya pala ganito ang pinapatupad nila sa amin dahil sa bagay na to. You have to manifest. Pero, if you're dealing with close-minded people, as Napoleon Bonaparte once argued, hindi kinakatakutan yung mga taong mangmang, yung mga taong baliw. Ang kinakatakutan at mas nakakatakot naman talaga sa lahat, kapag yung tao na tinuturuan mo, na iisip na niya yung naiisip mo, nabibigyan na siya ng ideya kung anong pwedeng mangyari kapag ganun pa rin ang ginagawa niya, hindi pa rin sumusunod. Martir. Next, identifies the need. I'm sorry for once again, the glitches here. It identifies the need. As leaders, kailangan po natin gumawa ng paraan para sa problema. Try to seek remedy to the problem. Kaya lang ang problema ganito eh. Kapag nakakita tayo ng problema, madalas ang ginagawa ng iba, kinakastigo. We tend to castigate the problem. We tend to castigate those who are implementing the problem. We castigate the system rather than creating remedy to the solution. Diba? Once na na-identify mo na yung need, pag-aralan mo. Leader ka. Kailangan pag-isipan mo everything that you do, pag-iisipan natin. Why? Kasi if we identify the need, we have identified the need, and then what? The next thing is what? Sa mga research natin, tinatanong tayo, ma'am, the analysis of the senior high school student. So, di ba? After that, what's now? Once you identify the need, kailangan gumawa ka ng program agad doon. Hindi naman yung program na mala Superman na, kumbaga, akala mo radical. No. Even the simplest program, simplest intervention to the problem will be a remedy. Hindi kailangan maging si Superman sa paggawa ng problema. Basta as leader, you have to identify the need. At kapag gumawa po tayo ng identification, it's very important that as a leader, you have to see the whole forest and not just the trees. What I'm trying to point out here is that kapag tinignan mo yung problema, hindi surface lang. Tignan mo yung pinaka-root, yung pinaka-ugat. Because even, parang ganito yan guys para kang pumapatay ng apoy na nasa kable ng kuryente. Kahit buhusan mo ng tubig yan. Nako, gusto ko magsalita ng di maganda pero wag na lang leader tayo, remember. Kahit buhusan mo ng tubig yan, hindi mamamatay yan. Patayin mo yung main switch, ganun. Tapos, tsaka mo gawin yung problema. The same goes with the identification of the need. Diba? You have to seek not the surface level, but the root of all the need para lasting. Meron yung short-term remedy, but we should also seek for the long-term remedy to the problem rather. Next, improves an organizational culture. You know what? We have a privilege to have one of the best university presidents sa URSA, Dr. Marita Canapi. Teacher namin siya. And then sabi niya sa amin, during the time sa URS, meron isang building doon na konting ulan lang, kahit summer. Kasi minsan kahit summer, di ba, umuulan. And then, umulan. And then, syempre, may mga problema, wala pa yata ang bubong. Nakakancel ang buong klase ng dahil doon. And so, wala kang ganong budget, wala kang mapagkukunan. But that aspect did not even hinder Ma'am Kanapi on transforming, on improving the building. Same goes to the organizational culture. Minsan kasi, kapag leader, iniisip natin, leader ka, you have to sustain kung ano nagawa ng isa. No, it's not necessarily just for the sense of sustainability. No, it's about improving. If there are things to improve, then why not? Why do you have to resort on things that are already passive? Why do you have to resort on things that has already been, that has already been used? Why not modify? And by the way, when we modify things, it's not for the sort of modification itself, but it's a sort of making the culture better. Sabi nga ni Mitch album, if the culture doesn't fit, don't buy it. Kung alam mong detrimental yung issue, yung culture, if alam mong may problema, if alam mo that these things will not resort into better solutions, don't buy it. By the way, in the end, it's not you who will suffer. It's your respondents. It's your follower. It's the community. It's the organization that you're affiliated with. Isang pagkakamali lang, maaapektuhan ng lahat. That's why as much as possible, you have to improve. Right? Next. I think we're almost on the latter part of my report. Wow, parang nagre-report lang sa klase. Knows power in politics. Now, when you speak of politics, of course, we can associate that into history, study of the past. Valentine's pa naman nung record ko to. Baka may gusto ko yung balikan sa nakaraan. Diyos, biro lang. Hindi naman mga biro. Balik na tayo. Now, knows power in politics. Ano mo meron sa politics? 'Di ba? Minsan pa nga, pag sa checkpoint, naalala ko, sir, bawal po sir, kay ano po kami, kay ganito po. Kay Juan de la Cruz po. Sige sir, pasok na po. O kaya naman, bakit ang yabang-yabang mo? Tanong ng isang enforcer. Tapos biglang inawat mo. Sir, wag naman ganyan. Bakit? Sino ka ba? Apo po ako ni Juan de la Cruz. Sorry po, sir. What I'm trying to point out there is may power sa politics. It's not the wrong usage of politics. Hindi ko kayo iniengganyo o hinihimok gawin yung bagay. Ang ibig ko sabihin sa konsepto knows powers in politics is that kapag kasi may alam ka sa politika, yung knowledge will be your input. And based on the consolidation of those thoughts in your mind, nakakagawa ka ng mga programa. Halimbawa, yung sa libro ni Niccolo Machiavelli na The Prince. Diba? It's about leadership, right? So, kung titignan mo talaga yun, because Niccolo Machiavelli does not believe in ethical imperative. Kapag merong problema ang isang lugar, hindi mahalaga sa kanya ang ethical imperative. Basta ma-preserve niya ang isang lugar regardless of the means, gagawin niya. Diba? So, paano ibig sabihin kundo sa paraan ng pagkakaresolba niya on the way how he wanted to resort, to figure, to change, and to remedy the problem, remediate the problem rather. There is a glitch. There will be someone that you're going to step into. May matatapakan ka. Paano 'yun? 'Di ba? Mapapaisip ka. Pero ang pinakamahalaga doon is yung input, yung knowledge mo. And once you're knowledgeable on certain field, tapos dumating ang problema, oh my God, maning-mani ang problema sa'yo. That's why somehow you should see politics not as a dirty aspect that does not have no chances at all for change, but for input. Tignan mo lang. Only get the essential. Kung alam mo na halimbawa itong taong to ay hindi credible, he does not have the reputation of course to be, you know, to extract information at all times, kunin mo lang yung essential. Pero sabihin mo na lagi kang kukuha ng ano sa kanya, no. Hindi tama yun. Next, racist queries. Ito pinakamahalaga. Naalala ko nung ah, time na yung tropa ko, kasi isang section kami, sabihin natin section 35 tapos section 34. And then, meron tanong yung section 34. Kami section 35. Bakit ganito ginawa nyo? Halimbawa, ganun. And then, of course, sabi ko, ako yung officer doon sa klase, kailangan ko malaman nyo to. Hindi pwedeng pag may sinabi sa akin, bulgaran ko agad o bombang ko. No. What I have to do at that point is that I ask. Tinanong ko yung mga estudyante, mga klase ko, totoo ba to? Ano ba talaga nangyari? Diba? As leader, you have to raise queries. 'Di ba? You have because when you ask question, nabibigyan ka na ng idea na okay kasi ito lang pala alam mo. Kapag isa lang kasi ang pinanggagalingan mo ng source, isa lang kinakausap mo. Then magiging para kang kabayo. Nakaganyan lang, hindi mo alam yung nasa paligid mo, puro lang nasa harap mo. And another point dito sa racist queries, halimbawa, meron ng mali. Anong gagawin mo? For example, isang advisor, isang teacher yung may ginawang mali. Anong gagawin mo? O halimbawa, naguguluhan ka na. O kaya may injustices na nangyayari. Anong gagawin mo? Mananahimik ka? Magiging neutral ka? No. Hindi. Kailangan, dahil leader ka, it's not only for the sake of leader eh. Kumbaga, alisin na natin yung concept, leader ako, tatanungin ko. So, ibig sabihin, pag hindi ka leader, di ka magtanong. No. Di ba? Morally speaking, if there is a glitch that could trigger and that could trigger and passion domino effect, bad effects, you have to question right from the get-go. Kapag hindi mo question yan, wala na. Pag nasa implementation na yan, nag-i-implement na, hindi na basta-basta ganun kadali mapigil yan. Kapag nag-raise ka ng question, makikita rin ng opposition mo o nung tao na yun na may ibang hindi magandang adikain na, meron palang nakikinig sa amin. Meron palang handang tumayo if ever na gawin to. So, mag-iisip sila na hindi pala basta-basta itong bagay na to. That's the essence of raising queries. Queries means question. Kung magtatanong ka, there's a chance na bukod sa po-prohibit or madidelimit yung mga chances ng hindi magandang mangyari, magkakaroon ka din ng idea. Right? Magkakaroon ka ng idea, ganito pala ibig niya sabihin. Ganito pala yung bagong knowledge. Raising question is powerful. Believe me guys. Napaka-effective niyan sa learning. And the same goes in leadership. Possess resilience. Actually, I have already told you a while ago that in the implementation process, hindi ganun kadali. There are times that you will feel sad, you will feel exhausted, frustrated even kapag nandun ka na. Pero kailangan resilient ka. May iba pa dyan, sasabihan ka ng kung ano-anong hindi magaganda. Baga, ginagawa mo lang naman yung best mo. Ginagawa mo lang yung trabaho mo. Sasabihin, ano ba yan? Ganito, ganyan. Ang daming kritisismo. Yung iba nga, na may personal pa. Ang taba-taba naman yun. Wala nang ginawang tama. Ganito pa. Yung stick na yan, iyakin. Ganito. Mahirap yun. Pero, at some point, we have to think na those people na nagsasabi, hindi nila alam yung pinagdadaanan natin. And at the same time, never ever, uh, never ever give up just because of the minority. If the majority is satisfied with you, if you are making major progress on the majority, kukunti lang yung mga yan. Yung mga may ano na yan, yung mga puna ng puna dahil magaganda naman na nagagawa ng leadership, dahil magaganda naman ng naipapatupad, tapos may question, naiinggit yung iba, konti lang yan. Maging resilient ka. Tibayan mo loob mo. Kasi at the end of the day, ikaw ginagawa mo ang trabaho mo. Mahal mo ang ginagawa mo. Masaktan ka man, alam mo, at some point, makakabangon ka rin. Eh sila, kapag nakabangon ka, wala na, tahimik na. Next, strategize every plan. One of my teachers, noong senior high ako, sinabi niya sa akin diyan, nandiyan, ewan ko if she was still there. Sinabi niya sa akin na, I mean, before the class discussion, she gave us a quotation that if you prevail, I mean, if you fail to prepare, then you prepare to fail. I just couldn't recall if it was Benjamin Franklin who stated that quotation. Napakahirap kasi sa isang leadership na gumawa ka ng programa tapos wala kang plano. Kumbaga sa lahat naman eh. Mahirap na nga yung basta mag-implement ka ng plano, mag-implement ka ng program, wala kang plano eh. How much more pa yung walang plano? Wala kayong ano kasi every plan, every plan gives you guidance. Gives you an assurance that you are still within the boundaries of the plan. If you think that there are things, there are actions you're doing which is not in consonance to the plan, which is not in consonance to the agreement that you've agreed upon, makikita nyo. Makikita nyo na, ay, hindi pala to tama sa ano natin. Kailangan alisin to. And at the same time, remember this, on everything that you do, there's risk, there's pain, there is failure. Pero, once you strategize, it does not completely eradicate the concept of failure. However, it limits the severity of its effect. Right? Hindi maiwasan ng sakit, di ba? Kaya kailangan mag-manage ka. You have to strategize. You have to think of every plan that might be beneficial. Tama po? Oh, wag na gano'n ng hugot ng hugot. Next, values time. Ito, hindi lang sa leadership. I want, if ever the time comes that uh, if ever the time comes na tapos na kayo sa lahat ng gawain nyo, pagbakasyon na, punta kayo sa parents nyo, sa kaibigan nyo, sa lolo't lola nyo, give time. Yan ang isang regalo na hindi mananakaw sa kanila. Very priceless yan. Now, bakit sa leadership it values time? Kasi po, una, kapag punctual ka, nakikita mo, ito pala yung mga gagawin natin, may nasisimulan ka. Right? Now, once na nasimulan mo na yung mga bagay na yun, at least, nako-compress mo, nai-execute yun ng kahit paano. Kumbaga, nababawasan ang mga gawain nyo. And at the same time, kapag binavalue mo kasi ang time, kumbaga, in everything you're doing, there's that conviction that I'm gonna do this now. If not now, when? Diba? We don't know what lies ahead. We don't know if tomorrow, if we would still be here. That's why we have to value time as leaders. Time does not only give us the space to act, but time makes us realize that not everything in this world is permanent. Kaya nga, kaya nga mayroong konsepto ng permanent, mayroong temporary dahil yun sa oras. And as leader, and even for those who are not here in the session, you have to encourage them to value the time. Kasi pag nawala, wala na. Yung assignment mo, pwede pang tanggamit sa Google Classroom yan, kahit sabihin late. Pero pag may nawala ng pagkakataon, wala na yan. And that's why, hanggat meron pang oras, learn to value that thing. Value the time. At ang pinakahuli sa lahat, you. Qualities of a great leader is you. Bakit ikaw? Bakit ako? Ang pinaka-dominant aspect kapag nung tinignan ko sa guidelines, sabi ko, ano ba ibig sabihin nitong you? Yung legacy mo. Sabi nga, sa libro ni Rick Warren, what on earth am I here for? Anong purpose ko? Anong plano ko? Dito, sa leadership, you have to have that legacy. Kumbaga, Sa panahon ko, gusto ko matandaan ako ng mga tao na ako yung leader na hindi man ganun kagaling sa communication arts, hindi man ako ganun kagaling sa aspeto ng technical, pero ang maipagmamalaki ko, minahal ng mga tao ang SSG. I mean, nakagawa ng mga pagbabago ang SSG, kahit mahirap, kahit maraming pagsubok, they created a better place to study. Yun ang legacy. And I'm also encouraging you. Sometimes yung passion natin, that will lead us to our purpose. Right? And sa leadership, remember, make the people think na during sa time na to, during sa panahon na ito, naglipa na ang pagmamahal, naglipa na ang understanding, naglipa na ang mga considerate na atmosphere. Kasi kapag hindi, useless lang din. Kumbaga, in everything that you do, ito I'll give you a concrete example. Sa kapanahunan nila Miles, sa kapanahunan nila Jovelyn Asyong, nila Mark Joshua Akal, ano nangyari? Wala. Oh, 'di ba? Ang hirap nun. Kumbaga, it's not for the sake of entitlement eh. It's not for that thing. But it's about the remarkable impact of your leadership to others. Yun ang tatandaan nyo. At ang aim ng leadership, remember, unity, not division. Leaders that looks to the future, not to the past. And ladies and gentlemen, that will be the content of my report. Oh, report na naman. Of my session rather. I am very thankful that you have all given your time. I know it's hard pero laban lang. And for the closing, I would like to give you this quotation. Again, anonymous. In every step you make, footings may be possible. Teka, natakpan yung ano. Ito. In every step you make, footings may be possible. In things you do, judgment and criticisms may arise. But please, do fear only the verdict of our Creator and of history. Tandaan nyo na huwag sanang ang pagnanais nating maging magaling ang makapagpalimot sa atin para maging mabuti. Dahil ang tama, maaaring mali sa paningin ng iba, ngunit ang mabuti mananatiling tama sa paningin ng lahat. Maraming tao, once you engage in a field, ano ba yan nakakaurat? Ano ba yan nakakainis? Ano ba yan nakakabulahaw? Ano ba yan nakakadalamhati naman tong tao na to? But remember, feel only the judgment of God and of history of your leadership. In everything that you do, be the best. Right? Tibayan yung loob nyo, ladies and gentlemen. I am hoping nothing but the best for you. I pray for you. Sana, ikaw na nanonood nitong video na to ay okay lang kalagayan mo. If not, tandaan mo magiging okay din ang lahat. Laban lang. Laban lang. Ladies and gentlemen, that will be all. God bless us all. Maraming salamat po. I am Miles De Leon once again. Signing off.